And a pleasant good evening to our Emonews viewers. We are live on the Bayfront and right next to the ferry terminal in Roseau with Mr. Gordon Henderson, who has been acclaimed as the godfather of Cadence Lypso. Mr. Henderson, how do you feel being back in Dominica?
Always happy to be back home. Always very, very happy to be back home. I just landed by sea, and usually I'm afraid of the sea, but it was a fantastic ride across. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so again, you're really just acclaimed in what you're doing, and we really want to know, since your musical roots began ever since you were at St. Mary's Academy, is there ever a sense of nostalgia when you come back home, or do you feel satisfied knowing that you've brought on this legacy of a whole new genre of music and again ethno appreciation for our culture?
Well, when I think of Cadence Lypso and the whole experience, I think of it as a movement. So, okay, we had the group Exile One that began the movement, but it would not have been a movement if Exile One alone played. So everybody else, perhaps 40 or 50 groups, about 200 musicians of the 1970s who sacrificed maybe 10 years of their lives in Martinique and Guadeloupe. They built a music industry over there, because when I went before everyone. I went to Guadeloupe and went with a band called Les Vikings, the Vikings, and it is after this I invited, through Fitzroy Williams, musicians to create Exile One. So all these musicians, they spent their blood, sweat, and their tears to build an industry in Martinique and Guadeloupe, and many of them didn't even get the necessary financial rewards or the recognition. And this is why I felt it was necessary to support the Tribute Festival. It's not just to honor three, it's to honor everyone, but you can't honor everyone at the top. So we selected three, and that's the case.
Right. And in the past, you've described Cadence Lypso as a synthesis of Caribbean rhythmic patterns. So for those who don't know, what really goes into making an iconic Cadence Lypso rhythm?
Okay, I'm glad that you used my early definition. In those days, I thought I could impress people with words like synthesis. But today, I usually say it's a fusion, a marriage of rhythms.
A marriage of rhythm.
Yeah, because it is in fact, we were stuck in a dance, I don't know if you know the story, playing our little reggae and funk, and people applauded, but they didn't dance. So the promoter asked us to make the people dance. So what we did is, as Dominicans, we didn't sing in Creole at the time. We Creolized the music. We put Creole lyrics, and we couldn't eliminate the calypso that was within us, but we added what we got from Haiti, because Haiti was the predominant dance pattern in the French Caribbean at the time. So we mixed these two. Now, Cadence Lypso itself has many variations. If you listen to Exile One, because Exile One set the pace, if you listen to songs like Atata or Réfléchis avant parler, it is up-tempo and so on. And if you listen to songs like Jamais vois ça, it is low-tempo and so on. Moderate songs would be Travail pour rien, bada, 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 you know. So there are many variations. Some people like only one, you know, because they like to sweat and they like to jump and that sort of thing, which is good. And Exile One also evolved its Cadence Lypso with songs like Fresh, so which is distinctly different from the early 70s. Fresh is of the 80s moving into the 90s.
And in the past that you've also credited, for example, Mr. Fingal and his use of the trumpet and the cowbell. So the musical arrangements of Cadence Lypso is something that we've never really seen before Exile 1 came around the block.
Well, there was no Cadence Lypso.
And your origins is from your calypso upbringing when you were the
Yes.
Mighty Bee, singing your calypso in your early days.
Yes. And we must be reminded too that I'm not the only one who was a Calypsonian before. Chubby was so much of a Calypsonian,
Way Papa.
yeah, that he won the road match in Dominica. Something about, no, give it to me, look me water coming down. That is Chubby as a Calypsonian, and that precedes Cadence Lypso. So I think that real Cadence Lypsonian, I just coined the word,
Copyright one time.
must have a little bit of calypso in him
Right.
or her.
For sure. Now, you've basically created a genre of music, achieved international acclaim. You're referred to as the godfather of Cadence Lypso and the Creole father of soul. So are you content with these titles highlighting your legacy, or is there more in store for the Cadence Lypso king?
No, well, I like the Godfather because I, in fact, named the rhythm. And in Dominica we have something about, if people mispronounce your name, they will say, Mon Papa Wayne. So I take the Pawen Godfather title nicely.
Right. So there's more in store, you can say. I know this weekend is going to be huge because, again, Cadence Lypso is really something that put us on the map internationally, especially with this unique, according to you, synthesis of rhythms. So can you say, besides the upcoming tribute festival, is there anything that we should be looking forward to? Are you up with new music? We know you just wrote a book. So we're excited to know what's next for Gordon Henderson.
Well, personally, I'm working on a documentary, TV documentary, and I am not sure if it will be a series or if it will be like movie length, 2 hours. I'm not sure because recently I've been doing a number of interviews, and every time I walk into a studio to do an interview for 1 hour, it always ends up to be 2-3 hours. So it would seem that we have a lot to talk about. So the documentary is the next big project.
Amazing.
Now, as far as Creole Heartbeat is concerned, everybody in Creole Heartbeat seem to feel that we have reached a point where we have to assist the Cadence Lypso artists that didn't get their dues. And we can try to correct that, and we will seek assistance. And I will try to explain myself better because I might not be clear. There are many artists from Dominica who made albums in Martinique and Guadeloupe. They wrote the songs, but for some reason, their names do not figure on the jackets, or somebody else might have registered these songs, so they didn't get their copyright. Well, they didn't get any royalties. I heard stories of guys having a large Coca-Cola and the big bread that Guadeloupeans call banton for lunch and that sort of thing. I don't think they're alive, and I don't think that it's too late. So I think that we have resources within Creole Heartbeat that we can appeal even to the authorities to give us some help in righting the wrongs.
Right. Honoring their legacy in the right way.
In the right way. Because I mean, applauding them is good, huh?
Yes.
But if they can get the right recognition for their intellectual property and get paid for that, I think it would be a good thing. And this is one of the reasons that I am not performing this weekend. My job is to assist in pushing those that never had the chance, so to speak. I don't feel comfortable going on stage, you know.
And there's so much talent to put on.
It's their time to shine.
Amazing. So what's one takeaway that you want, aspiring musicians, particularly up and coming Cadence Lypsonians, as you would have said earlier, what is one thing that you want them to take away from your legacy?
Well, Cadence Lypso, there are varying views. And to me, Cadence Lypso, I would be very disappointed if a young Dominican would decide that he or she would want to become a Cadence Lypsonian. The reason is, to me, Cadence Lypso is the music of the 70s. It's not that you don't have to appreciate it today. It is when I was talking to the young lady a while ago, the music I wanted to refer to is samba in Brazil. Samba in Brazil is not the music of today, but it is the music of Brazil.
Okay.
You understand? So you don't hear samba on the hit parade, but you hear it often enough and people embrace it as Brazilian. I think that Cadence Lypso, and this is why at Creole Heartbeat we always try to see if we can encourage the authorities to appeal to UNESCO to recognize Cadence Lypso as this heritage thing.
Of part of our intangible cultural heritage in Dominica.
Yeah, and that is the exact expression.
Yes, agreed.
Right?
Definitely.
So it is, Cadence Lypso is to Dominica what samba is to Brazil. So the young aspiring artists, if they are inspired by Cadence Lypso, it would be a great thing. But I wouldn't like to see tons of young artists embracing Cadence Lypso as their idiom, because it would be as if a Jamaican today, young Jamaican, would decide that they want to embrace ska or rock steady, or a young American wants to say, well, I don't want to hear anything about new rock and roll. It's Elvis Presley that I want,
and the blues. Right,
yeah,
right.
It's good. But I don't think that we should return to the past. We need to evolve. The society must evolve and come with new things. Although I'd be very happy if a Cadence Lypso song, that can happen, eh?
Yes, yes.
A Cadence Lypso song might just spring up to the top of the charts, But if we go back to the 70s in the way that we dress, I don't see how I can have an afro anymore. Nobody will make me put bell bottom, So we need to evolve.
Yes.
But I still respect the afro. I like to see people with afro, but I can't do it anymore.
Right. So with the legacy comes a sense of cultural heritage that we should recognize as a source of inspiration, but not really an idiom. We create our own idioms. That's basically what you're saying?
Yes, as we evolve with the society, and we cannot stagnate. And we must really watch it as legacy. It's important that we see it as legacy and embrace it as a part of our musical patrimony. And maybe the real best example is Cadence Lypso is to Dominica what samba is to Brazil. Or ska. There's a group called the Scatty Lights. Scatty Lights. So that's pre-reggae of the 60s, I think they were. Some time ago, I did a festival in Germany, and I saw this Scatty Lights performing. Well, it looked like the group is comprises 4 musicians. 2 were replaced by their sons because they're dead,
Oh wow.
and 2 other old men, and they didn't even use an electric bass guitar that has become fashionable for quite a while. They had one of those cellular bass and this car, and so on. So we still have to embrace our Cadence Lypso, we have to embrace our ska. Or Jamaicans don't, they have their ska and they keep their ska, and we must do with what we have.
Right. So we're embracing and moving forward. So we've spoken about so many things this evening, but is there anything that you'd want to share with the viewers this evening with regards to anything? Well, we know your documentary is coming up, so we're looking forward to that already. But is there anything with regards to the festival or just Cadence Lypso or Creole Heartbeat in general that you want to share with the viewers this evening?
Well, I will repeat that Dominica, every aspect of the Dominican society, from our leaders, religious, political, our leaders, the general populace, should really support Creole Heartbeat in all the endeavors. I would like to focus more on the festival because the festival is an enormous risk. I mean, it's a 3-day festival, and it is not meant to compete with the World Creole Music Festival, but it's a bold challenge for individuals. Individuals to decide to do that. The assistance is welcome, but it looks like a test. So the populace, Dominicans, should really come out. Dominicans should do what I saw Dominicans doing in England in the 70s. You know, when a Dominican band went to Dominica in those days, to London or Liverpool to perform, what the Dominicans did is they would buy a ticket for support. They said, I don't like to dance, I don't want to come to dance, but I will buy a ticket for support. And these are Dominicans, or these were. So I wish that we could develop that kind of mentality, because Creole Heartbeat deserves enormous support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Henderson, and welcome back home. We know that, you know, being away from home sometimes is a little hard, but it's amazing to see that you're back here, and we can tell you're already assimilating to your roots. We know that it's an exciting time to be in Dominica. We've got this amazing festival lined up for the weekend, and you know, it's gonna be great. So thank you so much for speaking with us. You want to give us a little song, a little one line in Creole for us?
One line. I hope that you can repeat it. But thanks for having me. I mean, being on Emonews. I mean, I don't know if you can you repeat that. When you envie fou pour retourner là-bas à Venezuela. Can you try that?
I think the viewers might crucify me if I don't get it right. Oh, but that was amazing. Thank you so much. Welcome back home. Enjoy your stay. Be safe.
Thanks
and
a lot.
God's endless blessings for your legacy. We're looking forward to that documentary. Make sure we get that exclusive showing. Emonews wants to...
We have high hopes for that. You
For
may
sure.
be surprised where it will end up.
Ooh, Cannes Festival, France. We're waiting. We waiting. Yeah.
Okay, if Emonews is waiting.
For sure. All right. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in. We are celebrating the arrival of Cadence Lypso legend Mr. Gordon Henderson here in Dominica for the Cadence Lypso Tribute Festival this weekend. Shout out to Creole Heartbeat, Wadix and Exile One, Gramax, and all the legends and those performing this weekend. All the best and God's endless blessings. This is Emonews signing out, and good night.